What if I told you that some of the organic foods you've been proudly paying up to 80% more for are nothing but a scam? That's right. Organic sea salt, organic water, even organic junk food like sugary pop, tarts. It sounds absurd, but millions of people are falling for it every single day. We've all been conditioned to believe that the word organic automatically equals healthier, cleaner, safer. But here's the shocking truth. Not everything with that green label deserves your hard-earned money. In fact, in some cases, you're paying more for absolutely nothing. Imagine throwing cash at a label while getting the exact same product as the cheaper version. Now, don't get me wrong. There are foods you absolutely should buy organic because the chemical exposure can be dangerous. But here's the twist. The real challenge is knowing when organic matters and when it doesn't. Welcome to the Nutrition Institute, where we cut through the myths, expose the hidden truths, and help you make smarter choices for your health and your wallet. Stick around, because what I'm about to reveal could change the way you shop forever. And hey, don't forget to hit subscribe so we can keep bringing you powerful insights just like this. When I first started caring about my health, I was convinced that organic was the magic word. Every time I went grocery shopping, I would scan the shelves and grab anything with that comforting green label. Organic apples, organic eggs, organic snacks. If it said organic, I trusted it blindly. It felt like I was buying peace of mind, a shield against toxins, a guarantee of purity. But then, one day, I came across something that completely shook me. There it was, sitting on the shelf, organic sea salt. I froze, staring at it. How could sea salt, a mineral harvested from the ocean, be organic? Pesticides don't attack salt. Insects don't chew on salt. It doesn't need protection from herbicides or fungicides. Yet here it was, sold at a higher price, proudly flaunting that word, organic. That was the first crack in my belief system. From that moment, I started to question everything. Was I really paying more for quality, or was I just paying for a label? The more I looked around, the stranger it got. I saw bottles of organic mineral water. I saw organic pop, tarts, packed with the same outrageous amounts of sugar as their conventional counterparts. These products weren't healthier. They were just marketed differently. And that's when I realized something shocking. Sometimes organic is nothing more than a marketing trick. It's designed to make you feel safe, to make you think you're making a smarter, healthier choice, while in reality, you're just spending 50 to 80% more for no reason at all. Think about it. Would you pay nearly double for an avocado labeled organic when the thick skin already protects the fruit from pesticides? Or for a banana when you peel off the outer layer anyway? Would you pay extra for walnuts, pecans, or macadamia nuts when their hard shells are impenetrable barriers against chemicals? Yet people do it every single day because the word organic has become a psychological trigger. I fell for it too. For years, I bought into the belief that organic always meant better. It wasn't until I started digging into the science and the marketing that I understood how much money I had wasted. Let's break this down with some real examples. Sea salt, it's a mineral, not a crop. No pesticide risk. Paying extra for organic here is meaningless. Wild, caught salmon. The fish live freely in the ocean. Nobody can control what they eat or spray chemicals on them. Labeling it organic is simply absurd. Avocados, that tough, leathery skin is nature's armor. Very little, if any, pesticide reaches the edible part. Baking soda, it's sodium bicarbonate, a mineral compound. Pesticides don't even enter the equation. Yet some companies still slap organic on the box to charge more. Mineral water. Imagine paying more for organic water. Water is water, The label doesn't change what's inside the bottle. Nuts with hard shells, walnuts, pecans, Brazil nuts, macadamias, all naturally protected. The shell is impenetrable to pesticides, so the nut inside is safe. Coconuts, with their rock, hard shells, pesticides don't stand a chance. Buying organic coconuts is another waste of money. Cabbage, while it may be sprayed, simply peeling off the outer leaves removes most of the residue. Bananas, like avocados, the thick peel keeps chemicals out. The part you eat is clean game meat, elk, venison, wild boar. These animals roam free. Nobody can regulate their diet or certify them as truly organic. The label adds no real value. When I realized this, I felt almost cheated all those years of reaching for the organic version, thinking I was protecting my health, when in reality, I was just feeding the marketing machine. And the craziest part, these companies know exactly what they're doing. They understand the psychology of consumers like me, people who want to do the right thing, who want to avoid harmful chemicals, who are willing to pay more for safety. They use that trust against us. The truth is, not every food needs to be organic. Some foods are naturally low in pesticide risk, thanks to their structure or the way they're produced. Spending more on those foods doesn't add safety. It just empties your wallet. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying organic is meaningless across the board. There are absolutely foods you should buy organic. And I'll get to those later, but it's crucial to separate fact from fiction. Otherwise, you end up like me throwing money at labels, buying organic water, and laughing about it years later. What makes this even more frustrating is that the obsession with organic labels can distract us from what really matters, the nutritional value of the food itself. Whether an apple is organic or not, it's still a better choice than a box of organic cookies loaded with sugar. Focusing only on the label makes it easy to miss the bigger picture, quality, balance, and moderation in our overall diet. Looking back, I feel grateful that I woke up to the truth. I started asking tougher questions. Who benefits from this label? Does it actually change the safety of the food? Or is it just a trick to get me to spend more? The answers weren't always comfortable, but they were liberating. So here's my honest takeaway. Don't let the word organic blind you. Learn which foods are naturally safe without the label. And save your money for the foods that actually need that protection. When you understand the difference, you can shop smarter, eat healthier, and keep your wallet from bleeding out on unnecessary organic versions of products that never needed it in the first place. Because at the end of the day, health isn't about buying every organic product on the shelf. It's about knowledge, awareness, and making choices that truly matter. After years of trial, error, and wasted money, I finally reached a point where I had to draw a line. Some foods simply don't need the organic label, while others absolutely do. And this is where the story gets serious, because while paying extra for organic sea salt is laughable, ignoring the need for organic strawberries or coffee could quietly harm your health in ways you never imagined. I'll never forget the first time I looked into strawberries. I love them bright red, sweet, refreshing. They seemed harmless, almost innocent. But then I learned about the massive amounts of pesticides sprayed on strawberry fields and how these chemicals soak right into the fruit. Unlike an avocado or a banana, strawberries don't have a protective peel. Their thin skin is like a sponge, absorbing whatever is sprayed on them. Suddenly, every bite I took in the past felt different, and from that day forward, strawberries became a must-buy organic food for me. The same goes for coffee. I drink it every morning, and maybe you do too. But coffee plants are often grown in tropical climates where pests and mold thrive. To keep up with demand, farmers spray heavy doses of pesticides and fungicides. Imagine starting your day with a warm cup of chemicals. That's essentially what happens with conventional coffee. Switching to organic coffee wasn't just a preference for me. It felt like self-preservation. And then there's tea. If coffee is a problem, tea is even worse. Think about it. Tea leaves are delicate, and when you steep them, you're literally soaking those leaves directly into hot water. Whatever chemicals were sprayed on them go straight into your cup. That realization hit me hard. If I was going to enjoy tea as part of my daily routine, it had to be organic. No exceptions. Another surprising one is chocolate. I used to treat myself to chocolate bars without thinking twice. But cacao, the raw ingredient in chocolate, is grown under the same tropical conditions as coffee and tea, conditions that invite mold, fungus, and pests. The solution farmers use, heavy chemicals, that rich, sweet treat suddenly didn't seem so harmless anymore. Choosing organic chocolate became another non-negotiable for me. But it's not just about what we eat. Cotton was something I never even thought about until recently. Then I learned that cotton is one of the most heavily sprayed crops in the world. It hit me especially hard when I realized what that means for products like tampons, baby clothes, and bed sheets. Tampons, in particular, are used internally, meaning the risk of chemical absorption goes straight into the body. For babies, their sensitive skin is in constant contact with cotton clothing and blankets. Once I understood that, buying organic cotton products felt less like a luxury and more like a responsibility. And let's talk about leafy greens. Spinach was the wake-up call. It's one of the most heavily sprayed vegetables, and because you eat the entire leaf, there's nowhere for those chemicals to hide. I used to grab conventional spinach all the time, but now, if I buy spinach, it's organic or nothing. Personally, I've cut back on spinach overall and switched to arugula or romaine lettuce, but when I do buy spinach, it has to be organic. Fruit can be tricky too. Apples, grapes, cherries, these are staples in so many households, but they're also among the most pesticide-heavy crops. I once thought peeling an apple was enough, but it's not. The skin isn't like the shell of a walnut. It can hold residues even after washing. Grapes and cherries are even more delicate, and every bite carries the risk of chemical exposure. For me, these fruits fall firmly into the always organic category. And then there's the one that really shocked me: wheat, oats, lentils, and pulses. Most people assume the biggest issue with grains is whether they're genetically modified, so they look for the label non-GMO and think they're safe. But here's the hidden truth. Even if a crop isn't genetically modified, it can still be sprayed with glyphosate, a powerful herbicide. Farmers often use it as a drying agent right before harvest. That means your morning bowl of oatmeal or your slice of bread could contain traces of a chemical designed to kill weeds. The thought of feeding that to myself, or worse, to kids, was chilling. From that moment on, I promised myself grains and legumes had to be organic, period. So here's the pattern I've discovered. Foods with thin skins, leafy structures, or heavy industrial farming practices are the ones that carry the highest chemical load. These are the foods worth investing in, buying them. Organic isn't just about feeling virtuous, it's about avoiding real health risks. But this journey has also taught me balance. Not everything has to be organic. Not everything needs to be organic. If I spend money on every single item with that label, I'd go broke. And honestly, that's where a lot of people give up. They assume eating healthy is too expensive. The truth is, it doesn't have to be. By focusing on the foods that matter most, I can protect my health without draining my bank account. It took me years of trial and error to figure this out, but now my shopping habits are simple. I pass by the overpriced bottles of organic water and laugh. I skip the organic avocados and bananas without guilt. But when it comes to strawberries, coffee, tea, spinach, apples, grapes, cherries, chocolate, grains, and cotton products, I don't compromise. That's where my money goes, because that's where it makes a difference. And honestly, once I started living this way, I felt empowered. For the first time, I wasn't blindly following labels. I was making informed decisions, choosing when organic mattered and when it didn't. And that shift changed not only my grocery bill, but also my relationship with food itself. Because here's the truth. Eating organic isn't about chasing perfection. It's about being smart, strategic, and intentional. It's about knowing when to spend extra for your health and when to save your money without guilt. By the time I piece together the truth about organic foods, what really matters, and what doesn't, I had gone through years of confusion, frustration, and wasted money. But what I gained from that journey was something much more valuable than a shopping list. It was a whole new mindset. For so long, I thought the label organic was the ultimate answer. I was willing to pay any price because I believed it was the only way to protect myself from harmful chemicals. But now, I see things differently. I don't look at organic as a golden ticket anymore. Instead, I see it as one piece of a bigger puzzle. And that puzzle is about making smart, informed choices that balance health with reality. One of the biggest lessons I learned is that fear can be expensive. Companies know this. They know people worry about pesticides, toxins, and long-term health risks. And they figured out how to turn that fear into profit. Organic water? That's not a health product. It's a psychological product. It exists to soothe people's anxieties, not to deliver real value. Once I understood that, I stopped letting fear dictate my decisions. Instead, I started looking for logic. I asked myself, does this food actually need to be organic? Is there a real risk here? Or am I just buying peace of mind? That simple shift in perspective changed everything. Suddenly, grocery shopping wasn't about following a label. It was about following common sense. Take bananas, for example. I used to feel guilty buying conventional bananas, as if I were exposing myself to danger. But the truth is, the peel does its job. By the time I eat the banana, the pesticides never touch me. Why would I pay more for the organic version? That guilt vanished once I understood the science. On the other hand, strawberries still make me pause. Every time I see them, their vulnerability is real. If I don't buy them organic, I know I'm putting myself at risk. That's not fear, it's awareness. And that's where my money is better spent. What's powerful about this approach is that it frees you. You don't have to feel trapped by marketing or overwhelmed by choices. You can walk into a store, scan the shelves, and know exactly where to invest and where to save. It turns a confusing maze into a clear path. But here's the part that surprised me the most. Once I stopped obsessing over the label, I started paying more attention to the actual food. Whether it's organic or not, is it nutritious? Does it fuel my body? Does it make me feel good? Those questions became far more important than whether a green sticker was attached to the package. For example, I used to justify eating organic cookies. I'd think, well, at least they're organic, while ignoring the fact that they were still loaded with sugar. Looking back, it's almost funny. Organic sugar is still sugar. Organic junk food is still junk food. That realization pushed me to shift my focus, less about labels, more about real nourishment. And then there's the money side of it. Let's be honest, eating healthy can be expensive. When you layer organic on top of that, it can feel impossible. I used to dread my grocery bills because I thought I had no choice but to buy everything organic. But once I figured out which foods actually needed the label, I cut my costs dramatically. Suddenly, eating well wasn't just healthier, it was more sustainable for my budget. That balance matters because health isn't only about avoiding chemicals. It's also about reducing stress. If you're constantly worried about whether you can afford your next meal, that stress takes a toll. 2. By being selective, by knowing when organic counts, I found a way to care for both my body and my peace of mind. This approach also changed how I think about the future. I believe we're moving into a time when consumers will demand more transparency, not just more labels. People are waking up. They're asking better questions. And the more we share knowledge, the harder it will be for companies to exploit our fears. But that shift won't happen unless we each play our part. For me, that means talking openly about what I've learned, even when it goes against the mainstream narrative. It means admitting I made mistakes, that I wasted money, that I believe the hype, because if my story can help someone else shop smarter, then all those expensive mistakes weren't wasted at all. At the end of the day, here's the lesson I carry with me. Health is not about perfection. It's not about buying every organic product or eliminating every chemical. It's about making choices that matter most consistently. Over time, it's about prioritizing foods that truly protect your health while letting go of the unnecessary guilt around the rest. So now, when I walk into the store, I feel empowered, not pressured. I buy my organic strawberries and coffee with confidence. I pass on the organic bananas and avocados with no second thoughts. And I leave the store knowing that I've done what's best for both my health and my wallet. And maybe that's the ultimate freedom, the ability to choose wisely, without fear, without guilt, and without falling for the marketing tricks that surround us. Because once you have that knowledge, no label can control you anymore. Looking back at everything I've learned, I realized my journey with organic foods was never just about what I put in my shopping cart. It was about uncovering the truth, breaking free from fear-driven marketing, and learning how to make smarter choices for my health and my wallet. For years, I blindly believed that organic meant better. I thought the label itself was enough to guarantee safety, but now I see things differently. Some foods truly need to be organic, like strawberries, coffee, tea, apples, and spinach, because the risks of pesticides and chemicals are too high. For those, paying extra isn't a luxury, it's protection. But for others, like avocados, bananas, coconuts, or sea salt, the label adds nothing. Paying more doesn't make them safer. It just makes my wallet lighter. The lesson I've taken from this is simple. Health is about knowledge, not fear. When we understand the difference between foods that benefit from being organic and those that don't, we gain the power to shop with confidence. We no longer feel trapped by guilt or manipulated by marketing. Instead, we make decisions that truly matter. And here's the deeper truth. Real health isn't built on labels, it's built on habits. Eating more whole foods, cooking at home, staying active, and reducing stress will always matter more than whether every single item in your pantry says organic. Once I shifted my focus to the bigger picture, I felt lighter, freer, and more in control. Personally, this experience taught me not just about food, but about life. Don't let appearances or labels dictate your choices. Always ask questions. Always dig deeper. Because the truth is rarely found on the surface. It's discovered when you're willing to look beyond what you're told. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What foods do you always buy organic? And which ones do you skip? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to learn from your experiences and create a real conversation around this. And if you found value in this discussion, please consider subscribing to the Nutrition Institute. Your support keeps this channel alive and motivated to bring you more honest, eye-opening content. Together, we can cut through the noise, make smarter choices, and live healthier lives without wasting time or money on what doesn't matter.